Hello and welcome back. And that's right, today we're returning to the subject of Synology, and I don't know how to feel right now. What do I mean? Well, today I want to talk about that new 8-bay rack mount a few days ago that the brand publicly revealed on their news, their PR, and on their own websites across the world. This is the RS1226 Plus, or the RS1226 RP Plus, a 4-bay, half-depth, really low, I think it's 30 centimeters for the single PSU version, 40 centimeters deep for the redundant power supply version. It's their rack mount for their rack station series. Now, this is generally a very popular segment of this brand's portfolio indeed. Ever since the first time I saw the half-depth rack mounts, way back in Germany, 2018, with the first generation, when they were doing a partner event alongside something called CeBIT. That trade show's long gone. They were showing off this half-depth rack mount, and it was kind of like a VCR size, and not much has changed in that chassis over the years, foreshadowing for later. Now, why am I having such weird, complicated feelings about this? Well, it's a few different reasons. This is an 8x SATA storage rack mount. It arrives with a 4-core 8-thread CPU, the AMD V1500B processor. It arrived with 4 gig of DDR4 ECC RAM inside there. It's also got 2.5 gig networking there on the rear. It's got a PCIe upgrade slot. It's expandable with a new USB-C expansion enclosure. This device even has M.2 slots inside. So, what's the problem? Well, it's because this system is so appallingly similar to the device that people have already had since 5 years ago with the launch of the 21 series in this product family. That is half a decade. In that half a decade, other brands have rolled out 1 to 2 different refresh generations, although this is an SMB solution, but we'll come back round to that. It's the same CPU, it's the same amount of memory. The only real meaningful changes come down to that the 4 1 gig ports on the original have been turned into 2 times 2.5 gig, so we've got fewer ports, but aggregate 1 gig of extra network connectivity, and a change to that expansion port there from an eSATA that was there originally onto USB-C. And of course, the inclusion on the newer generation of those 2 M.2 slots there for storage pools and also for caching across the system. Now, it would be bad enough if this similar upgrade here was going to be the same price, but it's actually worse because this same hardware from a generation 5 years previous is more expensive, and I'm sure it will start appearing on more retail outlets very soon. But it's already been listed. A really nice chap, Admiral Benson, was already starting to find links listed there online of this system appearing in different European, I think South Africa was on this roll, I think Canada and a few Eastern websites, I think a Taiwanese retailer was there. And it all largely indicates, with or without the tax, that this is going to be more expensive than the existing 8-bay. Which again, some might argue, well, RAM prices have gone up, and it is a system with scaled up the NICs and scaled up the M.2s. But that is just appalling to see the same hardware for the most part be rolled in at a higher price tag now, 5 years later. But it gets worse. This system arrives with locked hard drives. And by that, are we familiar with the term? Synology last year did that disastrous policy around only using their own drives. A big part of that, they said, was storage reliability, but also another big part of that was arguably they wanted a bigger slice of the profit pie of the purchase. I think that would be reasonable to say. And alongside them having their own memory, where you only have to use their memory on these systems, although they reversed this policy on the disk station series, on the rack station, the RS series, you're still going to have to use their own hard drives, their own SSDs, and ultimately makes this a far more locked-in proprietary system. Now, I'm not going to go so hard on that CPU. Because one, that CPU, although it has been used 5 years ago, I still think it is a good processor, and AMD are committed to firmware and security patches and updates to it for many more years to go. It was one of the main appeals of them going for that processor with a 10-year support cycle. But everything else about it annoys me, notwithstanding that it's still only 4 gig of RAM as DSM continues to get further and more aggressive in its operations, and the fact that a lot of its newer generation DSM 7.4 stuff has the potential to really lean even harder on memory utilization, from the AI stuff, the storage efficiency and more. all of this adds up to not only a weak release, but arguably a significant step back on what not only people's expectations were, but even their lowest thoughts about what Synology would do to this next generation box. Now, if you look online, I'm sure maybe YouTube's already recommended it to you on the side of the screen. Wendell at Level 1 Tech, fantastic chap, he made a video recently about his tour of the Synology facility and him speaking to a lot of people there. And there was one element of that presentation that Synology presented to him that really kind of shook me, and it was to do with the idea that only 5% of the purchases that are made of Synology products are the home or enthusiast tier there. 5%, and therefore the bulk and the rest of the profit for this company is coming from the other 95%. But once it was broken down even further, you could see that SMB made up 32% there and prosumer made up 31%. This system is within those two realms. For prosumer that want a compact rack for their home lab, or SMB that are looking to run lots and lots of active users for backups, management, the collaboration suite. So for this device to reside within both of those around 30% marks is bonkers to me for it to be this lackluster a rollout. And I get it. DSM is the prize. These solutions are about DiskStation Manager, and I'm sure it'll run great on this. But right now, in the hardware economy being what it is, this system to be recycling the same build for the most part, this far on, the cost it is to add the M.2s, the cost it is to add 2.5 gig, does not justify this increase. And it's just generally very depressing for a brand that I've defended in the past substantially by saying, I know their hardware is a bit weak, but their software is fantastic and they maintain those same price tiers every few years. This is a market decline in that logic. Hence why I'm just having such complicated feelings about this, because generally I have recommended Synology products and I probably will continue to recommend some of their solutions. I just can't recommend this device. I can't. It's too similar to 5 years ago technology from the brand themselves, and the price increase and just generally what it is offering is a new solution when they are inevitably going to retire availability of the previous one, for me just tastes bad. But what do you guys think? Is this the device you've been waiting for? Did you hold out on purchasing the previous one a few years ago, waiting and hoping for an upgrade, and you're looking at this and thinking, do you know what? I'm signed off on it. I love DSM. Let me know about it below. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.